Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar, Design Space 101, Part A for the beginner. Looks like we have about a quarter of the attendees who have logged on. So we're going to give them just a few more minutes to see if we can get everybody joining. So just hang tight. If you have not yet looked at the control panel on the GoToWebinar screen, you'll notice that there's something that says handouts 5 out of 5, and if you just click on the little caret, it will display those 5 handouts if you want to download those now, or some people want to print them to write on the actual notes. If that helps you, you might want to go ahead and do that right before we start. And I'm just going to check with my moderators to see if they can hear me just fine.
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Okay. And then I will check with you to see if you can see my screen. Let's see. I'm going to actually see if you can see me on my camera first. Can you see me on my camera?
I can, yes.
Great. Okay. We'll just test one other thing before we get started and see if you can see my screen. So.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Great. Looks like we are ready to get started then. So, welcome to our webinar. Some of you, I think this might be the very first webinar you've attended, so I hope you enjoyed this format. This is definitely like a classroom online, and we have actually 1,000 people in our class, and so we're really excited to have you here today, and hope that you will be able to feel like you can get into Design Space and get started. This is strictly designed for that new beginner. Maybe you've been bashful about getting into Design Space. Well, we want to break down those barriers and get you right in and get designing and crafting. So first thing we're going to do is, let's see here. I'm going to actually present this so it might be a little bit bigger. Here we go. Hopefully you're able to see that. Do you actually just see my whole screen, or are you seeing all of this? Maybe one of my moderators can tell me.
We can see just the presentation.
Okay, great. So our agenda today, we'll welcome everyone and introduce ourselves. And then we have just a few little housekeeping items to take care of. I'll discuss our objectives for our class tonight, and then we'll just dive in and do an overview and demo of Design Space homepage and the canvas. Some of you may be interested in having another tab open where you have logged into Design Space, so you can toggle back and forth and try it as we're going through it. Or maybe you have multiple devices, you could do that. This particular training is designed for computer use. Granted, we can use an Android or a handheld device like an iPad, but the display will be a little bit different. So this is designed mostly for the computer, because we know more than 80% of you use your computer to design. But we will be offering some more classes that use Android and handheld devices. So we also will go through some resources for help and where you can get that help and where can you learn more. And then we'll have a call to action at the end. So without further ado, welcome. My name is Kestin Mattinson. I'm the Director of Education and Experience here at Cricut, and we have a moderator, and her name is Christy Gates. And Christy, can you say hi?
Hi, everyone.
She is the Director of QA, and we also have another panelist, and that is Karen Gates, and she also is in QA. So we have a really good group here tonight, and we're excited to bring you this webinar. A couple of housekeeping things. Like I said, our audience is for that newbie, and so we've tailored the curriculum that way to help that person who's just starting out. Some of you may have had your machine for a while, and you haven't been in Design Space for a little while, and that's okay too. Everyone's welcome, but I just wanted everyone to know that I've designed this for that newbie audience. And so if you have questions, you're more than welcome to bring those up as we go along, and Christy and Karen are going to be helping me answer those. Try to focus those questions on the content, because we have so many people in our class tonight that we want to make sure we get to your questions that are prevalent to the curriculum that we're talking about. If you have other questions, our customer care team could answer those for you. And if you're not sure how to get that to, I remember care services, I'm going to show you in this webinar. Also, if you run into trouble and you need some help during this webinar, you can either leave an email at learn@cricut.com, or you could contact our customer care. And if you go to help.cricut.com, they can help you. But I suggest, if you can, go in the chat portion or in the questions portion of your drop down in the control panel and ask Christy or Karen, see if they can help you during this webinar. And that's a good way to chat with that moderator. Also, I've talked about the handouts at the very beginning. So if you missed it, you should see a control panel for our GoToWebinar, and you should see something toward the bottom. It says handouts 5 out of 5. If you will just click that caret and it will drop down, you can see the 5 different handouts. There really are 3, and I just put in 2 answer keys in case you didn't, you just wanted one that was already filled out. Research actually shows that taking notes is very beneficial to your learning. And so we've provided you some graphic organizers that will follow along with the content that you can fill in as we go to help you remember and retain what you're learning today. And one other thing, you will be getting a recording of this webinar for future reference in the follow-up email that you will get after this webinar. And please stay with us to the end. We'd love to hear your comments with a survey, because we're doing more and more of these webinars, and we'd love to get your feedback. We're always interested in doing better and learning. So today, here are the objectives. Here are the things we're going to cover. So you're going to be able to understand the 4 parts of the home page in Design Space. We'll also cover, so you can learn the 6 areas of focus on the canvas in Design Space. And then we will explore various sources for learning and help. And there are a lot. So we definitely don't want to miss out on that. And so without further ado, let's get into Design Space. So I'm going to switch from my PowerPoint, get out of that and get into Design Space, okay? So let's hide this, and I will flip over to my other screen. Let's see how this works. Okay. Now, moderators, can you tell me what you're seeing on your screen?
I am seeing a flag
Awesome.
for Google.
Yay, we're in the right place. Okay. So, first thing we want to do is get into Design Space. How do we do that? I just opened up a different tab, and I've actually bookmarked my Cricut Design Space, so it's right there front and center. But, you know, if I click it, you can see the URL, design.cricut.com, and it will go naturally to our landing page. And if you have your handouts, this is where we're talking about the 4 parts of the home page, 4 specific areas. Okay. All right. So the first area, and by the way, your screen might look different than mine. It will be pretty close, but depending on what you've uploaded and your projects, there will be some variation, as you'll see some of the things that I've uploaded to mine. But the first thing we're going to talk about is this area right up here. And let me just get into my highlighter. And this area right up here, where you see home all across here, right? This is called the header. So if you want to write in, if you're taking written notes, this is the header. And this header is important because it's like, this is the place where if you get into trouble, then you know where you're to go. Right here where it says home. This is the home landing page. This area right here, we refer to it sometimes as a hamburger menu or just the menu icon. That's an important thing for you to know as well, because it will get you to back and forth between the home and to the canvas. So let me just get back to my pointer. So this header, if you click on yours as I'm doing it with mine, there's the menu and there's the drop down. You can see there are various things and places that it will take you. So what can you do? You can switch between home and canvas. We were right there at the home page. Remember, this is the home landing page. And then I can click at canvas and it will take me to a blank canvas. So there are 2 things that are just, I use all the time, back and forth between home or canvas. Okay. But let's just look down here. There are other things that you can do too. Some of you may need to do your new machine setup that you haven't even opened out of the box yet. You've got to do that. You must open that machine if you haven't already, please, and get it set up. We want your machine and Design Space, the software, to communicate with one another. So what you do in Design Space directly affects what you produce through your machine and the cuts that it makes. So we need those 2 talking to each other. That is new machine setup. And then another important one that a lot of people have been asking about is linking their cartridges. This is where you do so. If you have some of those older machines and you want to link your cartridges. By the way, if you run into trouble, always contact our member care services to help you. They're very able and willing to help you link those cartridges. Really, they can help you at any time. You don't have to wait. Do it now. You can look at Cricut Access. I like settings. I just wanted to show you this really quickly. This is kind of like the shortcut access, so you can see if I can change the way my canvas looks. This where it says canvas grid. If you look behind it, it's kind of grayed out, but keep your eyes on it because there it is the full grid. If I click on partial grid, it changes a little bit, and then to no grid, you can tell a little bit better. Oh wow, all the grid lines are gone. And you can change it to inch or centimeter if you work with metrics. That's the way you want to go. This also is the keyboard shortcuts that you can see. A lot of great things. Probably some that I use all the time is when I want to save, and it's just hit my command. Yours may look different if you're using an PC. I'm using an Apple computer right now, so I have a command key where you may have a different key that you're going to be using. But undo and redo are my favorites, along with cut, copy, and paste. They're just shortcuts. So you can hold, for me, I'd hold my command key that looks like this, plus the X, and it just cuts something off my canvas if I want it, or if I want to copy something. So that's a good little way to learn your keyboard shortcuts. So that's under settings. And let's go back. I was at the home, remember, and I was looking down here, and this is a great way to get to help as well. And if you need it right now, that's where you could get that help. Or you can sign out or give us some feedback. So all of those things can be found in the header or the hamburger menu. All right, let's go to the next one. So that's part one of the home page. Part two is this big area here at the top, and it's called the banner. Okay, the banner. And this big banner right all through here. Okay, what do you find? It kind of scrolls like Netflix, if you will. And so what would you find here? Pretty simple. If we have any updates, we would post them here. Or, for example, this one right here that's on my screen is talking about, do you want to learn some more on certain things? And it would take you to our learn.cricut.com. Maybe you want to know a little bit about Cricut Access, so you can have access to more fonts, more images, more projects. There's something like that. So just to review, under the banner, it highlights information, like maybe there's a special offer or product announcement. Maybe there's going to be another tutorial, or maybe we might have a maintenance message. All of those things happen here in the banner. Okay. All right, let me erase those drawings. And let's move on to the third part of the home page. And that is my projects right here. This is one I use all the time. This one is where everything that I've made and saved is right here. All of my projects. I can view them all by clicking here, or if I, let me get into my pointer. Oopsie. Sorry guys, I clicked, that's my son's name. If I just hover over to the right hand side or hover over here on the left hand side, I can get, I'm just going to stick with my right hand side here. I can view them this way. Now I can go left because there's something to look at to the left. That's one way for me to look at all of my projects, or I can click view all. Okay, so I can also create a new project here, and that is where it says new project with this lovely plus sign. That will take me directly to the canvas. Another place that will take me, that's up in the header, is right here. New project, new project. So there's multiple ways, and if you remember down in the menu, canvas, there's multiple ways to get to the canvas, right? So let's click on new project. And there you have it. You're in a blank canvas ready to design. It's just like you're an artist and now you're ready to add something to your canvas. Okay. Let's see. So what happens in my projects? Let's just review. You can create a new project. We could click. I'm going to go back here to home. We could create a new project. We could click the green button and get to a new project. Or we could get to one of our own projects that we have saved and just have access to the canvas. So that's what happens in my projects. Now the last component of the home page is the featured content. And if you'll just scroll, you can see these are banners all through here, and they're segmented by different categories. So this banner below is all about planning for the new year, or sewing. Oh my goodness, if you haven't looked at these, folks, I'm telling you what, I haven't sewn for years, but I'm being inspired to get after it, and I broke out my sewing machine and I'm shocking my family. So it's pretty cool. We have partnered with Simplicity, and so there are a lot of Simplicity projects ready to make that are there for you. Pretty cool. If you haven't checked it out, you need to do that. Valentine's Day is coming up, so you can check out some of the projects there. Pretty cute. And you can see how I'm scrolling back and forth by just going to one side to the other, right? And what's new for Cricut Access, this is my daily thing. I come in, log in, and look what's been added. I just love it for Cricut Access. And featured projects. So same thing, you can scroll or you could view all. So there you have it. And you can see them all together where you don't have to sit and scroll if that's something you'd prefer not to do. Okay, you guys. So just to review, let's go over those 4 sections of the home page. Okay, so I'm going to get back to home. I have my header right up here, my banner, my projects, and the featured content. If you notice on the bottom of your handout, there is a link that will take you to a video that we've made that will review everything that we just talked about today. So that's available for you. And I will show it to you how to get there too later on in the webinar. So let's move on. But before we do, I'm just really curious about you guys out there. I want to do a poll. I'm interested in what machine do you own? So I'm just going to launch a poll out there, and if you wouldn't mind clicking, which machine do you own? Or maybe you don't own a Cricut machine. Let's see. Can you see the poll? I'm going to put it out here. It looks like I have about 75% of you have voted already. Oh my goodness, you're so fast. That's awesome. Let me just give it 3 or 4 more seconds and see if we can get 100% voting. I'd really love to see our audience here and what you're working with. Okay, I'm going to close the poll. It looks like I have almost everyone who voted, and here are the results. Wow, that's really interesting. So Explore Air 2, more than half of you have that. And then the rest is spread out. The new Maker machine is awesome. If you haven't heard about that, you definitely need to look into that. But all of these machines interface with Design Space. So learning Design Space is really important. Your machine is pretty simple. It's the Design Space that seems to give people some of the more difficulty, and so we want to help you with that. All right, you guys, let's get going to the canvas. This is one of my favorite things to do. I have loved trying to design things and create things that I can make myself. It really has opened up my creativity, and I think my family and friends just love it. And they're seeing things from me that I think I shock them, which is pretty cool. I love to do that. All right, so if you're taking notes, this is the 6 areas of focus on the canvas. All right, so let's get started. First area of focus is the header, kind of like before, but on the home page. Now we're on the canvas. Now I just want to review, make sure everybody got to the canvas okay. Here's where we were at home page and canvas. That was my quickest way to get to the canvas. But do you remember, you can get to the canvas here or here, 3 places. Pretty cool. So make sure you're on the canvas if you're following along. And this header, you can see where it says Untitled. The purpose of that is to name this canvas if you want to save it. Okay, so if it's saved and it will ask you, what do you want to save it as? So there's nothing on my canvas, so I can't really save anything yet, but it would appear right here. And I'll show you that a little bit later on. Also, it gives you to your projects that you've already made. So I can get back to those. Maybe I've kind of run out of creative juices and I just don't want to create anymore and I just want to go back to one of my projects that I made. I can click it there. Okay. Another thing I can do is when this green button is illuminated, I can click Make It, and that will send me to the matte preview screen that will show me what mats and by what color am I going to send through my machine to cut. So we'll get to that also. So that's the header, you guys. It also gets you back to the menu, and you can go back to the home page if you desire. Okay, we're going to stick on the canvas. So we've got an open canvas. This is the second area of focus. And the canvas is, like I say, this is where you create. This is where you're going to add things. It's a blank canvas. So think of these things here on this left-hand panel as your tools. It's your design panel. This is number 3, your design panel. And these tools, let's show you here. All of these are tools in which you can add to your canvas to create something. So let's just start with this template. So templates, if I click on templates, and if you are following along, please do so. Templates are designed to give us a reference point. The template doesn't actually cut out on your machine. It's just helping you in this design phase, what we're doing. So if you want to make a bag tag, or you want to put maybe an iron-on some shorts, or maybe I want to make some baseball t-shirts, that's really popular, or even a banner, you want to do that. It just, by adding this to the canvas, it's giving you a reference point. So I'm just going to go with classic t-shirt, and you can see what happens. So this template is helping me in my design to give me an idea of what it will look like. I can choose the type over here. I can do a men's short sleeve, a women's short sleeve, kids. I can size it, medium, and you can see that the canvas size changed. All of these things help me in my designing. So that's what templates do. It's just a tool to help you create the image that you want and your project. Remember that it actually doesn't cut out with the materials that you sent through the machine. It doesn't do that. It is just a tool to help you get a visual. Okay. All right. Now let's go on to something else. I'm just going to do a new canvas again, and let's go down to projects, if you will. So these are ready to make projects that designers have created for you. And if you have purchased Cricut Access or something like that, where people actually sell some of their projects, or that you buy Cricut Access and you have this monthly membership, you have access to all of these projects that have this A here. So you can see there are just a ton of projects. I use these to really get inspired, because sometimes I just want something quick to make, and I'll use one of these. It's already made, a designer has made it, but sometimes I want to be the maker, the designer, and that's where we go to the open canvas. So they're two different things. Projects have already been created and are ready to make. Let's just tap into one. I'm just going to do this key to my heart shaker card and click on it. So it's kind of like a pattern that's showing you, well, this is what you're going to make. Here's, I can scroll through some pictures and see what the inside would look like, a little bit closer up so I can see the embellishments of how the designer did it. And it's even showing me what it would look like on the canvas here. So if I scroll down in this pattern, it's showing me the title. It's saying, this is an intermediate project. So you newbies, I would look for something that says easy for now. Intermediate, it will take you about 30 minutes to an hour. Okay. It gives a little information about this card. Oh, I wanted to show you this great new tool, and it's right here. This is, you can see, a printer icon. I can click that, and I know a lot of you like to have your patterns like right next to you that are in written form. You can print those out on your printer if you want and have it right beside you. It's a great tool. People have loved that. Sometimes people will, like if I click it here, you know, some people want to do screenshots and things like that. And that's perfectly fine too. But it's just a really nice way to help get all of that information in your hands. And then I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. It gives you the materials you're going to need and everything else that it's going to take to make this project, your preparation, how to assemble it, even in videos that can help you if you are struggling on, you know, what are some cardstock tips and tricks, and all the images and fonts that are used in this project. Some of you may have access, some of you may have to purchase it, or you can see this one was already purchased. And then 2 buttons down here at the bottom. You can customize some projects by clicking here and changing sizes of things if you want something bigger or smaller, you want to change the words on it. Or you can just go ahead and hit make it and say, I like it how it is, I just want to make it and I want to cut it. Then you can see this is your matte preview screen. You might want to write this down. Mattes right here on the left-hand side are organized by color of whatever it is that you're cutting. So you can see this is white, so you would have white paper on your mat, and this is what it's going to cut. So I can just scroll down here. It's like a light pink, red, it's organized by color. Okay, and Design Space tries to optimize things as well to save you paper. So you, the way in which things will be organized will be all close together, right, without a lot of gaps. So you can save you some of this paper and have extra to use. Okay, so that's Make It. Okay, so I'm going to click out of that. I'm going to go back to a canvas because you've seen all of our projects. Oh, I wanted to show you one other thing. Up here, you can sort by categories that might help you save time, because scrolling through this could be endless and it's fun. I actually like doing it to get ideas. But if you are in a hurry and you want to make a card, then by all means click cards and it will take you to cards. Okay, and you can get lots of ideas here, or just make it. All right, you guys, let's go to our canvas again. I'm just going to hit new. And I went through projects. Now let's look at images really quick. So if I click on images, you can see we have over, search among 60,000 plus images, just a ton of images available for you to use for any project. I just love these. And as I'm designing, it helps me in creating something, you know, really spectacular. So let's just demonstrate how this works. So I can view this, all of the images. This is kind of the default setting. You can see if I click over here on the top right hand, you can see where it illuminated green. They'll make them smaller. Then I can see more at a glance. Okay. but I don't want to scroll for 60,000. I don't have the time. I know what I want to look for. I want to look for something that says love because I want to make a t-shirt. I did already. So I typed in love. Now notice up here in the top left-hand corner, I'm going to put my highlighter on just so you can see where I'm talking. After I put love here in the search, it went from 60,000 to 1,057. So it definitely cut down my scrolling time, right? And so I can actually even filter it more if I wanted to by clicking filter. I'm going to do that and just show you that you could just go to anything that's free. Or maybe you want to see something that is something I could print, or just cards and envelopes, or maybe a single layer of something, not a double layer, which would be multi-layer. I'm going to leave it and I'm just going to scroll. And remember what I said, I was looking for something for a t-shirt. I want to do an iron-on. And so I'm just going to scroll here and something that looks good, I'm going to click. I like this. So now that you notice I've clicked on it, it's illuminated here with green. And if I click on it, it's going to appear down below. I want to highlight this too for you. Down here, right in here, this area is an image queue, basically. So watch what happens as I click some more, okay? Because I really like that. That's cute too. Did you see it pop up down here? There it is. And I'm going to scroll a little more. That would be cute on a shirt. And let's see. Lots to choose from. Like I told you, there's so many inspiring, fun things. It's so cute, right? That one. Okay, you guys, you get the picture. Now, down below in my image queue, you can see, hey, I've got a lot. I think of this as going shopping. I love shopping, but I hate trying on stuff. And so what I want to do is, like, when I go to a dressing room, I want to max out as many items as I can so I don't have to go back and forth, right? So I think of this as the same thing as the dressing room. So I want to max out while I'm looking and browsing, if you will, for things. I can put them over my arm to carry into the fitting room. This is my figurative arm down here in this queue. So let's say I have looked and I've hunted and I've found a lot of things to try on. Now, I can add all of these and they will appear on my canvas. Or I could say, I don't think I want to do that one, and just send it back by hovering over it, and you can see the X appear and it will go away. And I'll just do this one so you can see. Insert image. There it is. All right, so I've inserted this image and I want to make a t-shirt, has an iron-on of it. Now, if you notice, I have, if you've clicked on it and it looks like that, it's because you need to actually go back to the image and actually click on it and highlight it, and now you have selected it. All right, I can click up here and say deselect, and it will deselect, or I can select it all. And I want to select it all because I want to manipulate it. I want to work with it. So I'm thinking about, like I said, this t-shirt, and I think I want this about a little bit over 7 inches. Okay, so if I use this little tool down here, this little handle right here in the bottom right hand corner, see that the arrow goes in and out. I can manipulate it the size this way. Watch what happens up here in the size edit bar. Watch what happens when I move. It automatically stays all together, the height and width, because it's locked, so I don't lose the proportion. I'm just making things bigger or smaller. It stays how I want it. If I don't care about that and I want something, maybe I want it more tall and thin, I can click over here and unlock it. And now look, I have 4 arrows here and it's giving me options to stretch it, and I can change the proportion of it. And maybe that's what I like. That's going to be nicer. I want it to stretch a little bit more. So there you go. And I can go back and say, I'm going to make it really big here. I'm going to make it smaller so I can, you all can see it. And I'm going to lock it back up so I don't make a mistake of changing it while I'm doing something else. Okay, so I've found this image, and if I look over here to my layers panel, this, by the way, is one of our areas of focus, the layers panel. It's number 5. And let me just refresh everybody so everyone's with me. Number 1 was the header. 2 was the actual canvas. 3, the design panel over here. 4 was the edit bar up here. And 5 is the layers panel. Okay, so this layers panel, I can see, here's the word love. It's kind of my map, right? If a key to my map being the canvas, this is the answer key over here. It's telling me what I have displayed on my canvas. So if I don't want to see it, I can just click this little eye image and it's gone. I can click it back and there it appears. It gives me options. I can make more of one and just duplicate it, or I can even delete it. It also shows me, this is kind of an important one to know that I didn't get for a long time when I was starting out. This is like the line type. So if I click on that, did you see what happened? This layers attribute popped up. Let's do it again. Click right here. And you can see what this was already to begin with was a writing. It's a pen, if you can tell. That symbol is a pen. So we would plan on writing. Well, I don't want to write on my t-shirt that I'm making. I want to cut this image out on iron-on. So I'm going to come up over here and click change it to a cut. Okay, so I've changed it to a cut, and it allows you to, now you can see scissors, so it's going to cut it out. Now I can change colors as well. Maybe you want red, something like that. Okay. Scoring is something that you can use as well, but I would use it for cards and things like that. A score tool is something you will put in your machine, but score lines that you can use on your design when you're making cards, and you can put a score line to help you so it's a simple fold. It just helps it have a nice clean fold line, and that is in another webinar, by the way, that I'm talking about. And so that's what it would look like if I clicked, or I could print it and send it to my home printer, and it would print out, and then I'd put that on my mat and have it cut out. But remember, I'm trying to make an iron-on here. So what is it that I want to do? I want to cut. So it's still on the printer icon. I'm going to click it. I'm going to put it back to cut. And there you have it. And you can just click over here if you want to get out. Pretty simple. Okay, so now I'm ready to make it. If I click make it, there you have it. It's telling me what to load, what color. And remember, I told you that mats are organized by color. Okay, and then I would put that color on my mat and send it through. I'm going to cancel because we're not going to do that tonight. I just wanted to give you an example. So we've looked at the edit bar, and we haven't gone through everything, but if you look at the top here, I'm going to go back and just talk briefly on this. If you ever need to undo something, this is a button that you need to know. This is one that I use all the time. Is undo. It will take you back, all right? Or you can redo it and send it forward. Remember, I did show you deselect and select. And let's see, so I can deselect or select all. Did you see how it changed? I can actually edit. I can cut or copy something. I could flip this around. We talked about the size. I could rotate it. This little handle over here allows me to rotate some image if I want to. Okay. And I can change the position if I want. This is the edit bar. So I'm going to click out of that and erase my drawing. And let's see, let's go. I think we got to image, so I'm going to make this smaller and I'll just put it over here for now on my canvas because we've done that. Let's click on text. Did you see something change on my canvas? Let's do it again. I'm going to go back. Click on text. Watch what happens up here underneath the edit bar. Click on text. Another bar appeared, and this is the text bar. It won't appear until you have text, right? Or that you've selected that you're going to add text. It's just out of the way until. So I'm going to, I'm really in a Valentine way. So I'm going to put Be Mine, but I don't want it all on one line. So I'm going to hit my Shift key and hit return and have Be Mine on 2 separate lines. So there's some text. Now, if I have it selected, you can see this is part of number 4 with the edit bar up here and the text bar below. Now you can see how we can manipulate the text. So I could change font size and scroll through. It's kind of nice to see all the different fonts and what it would look like, right? I really am into Anna's stuff lately. If you don't know Anna Griffin, she's a fabulous, fabulous designer. And she has some really cool things. I'm going to just choose that one. I think that looks very Valentine-y. And notice if I click off it, there goes my text bar. So I'm going to click on it again. Now I have my text bar. I can change the style. I can bold it, have italic. I can do all sorts of things. I'm going to maybe change this font size. I can click here and use these 2 little arrows, make it larger or smaller. But remember, I could also manipulate it here with this little button. I can grab and pull out or put in basically however I want. I could also change the letter space and change, watch what happens. I'm changing the spaces between the letters, or I can make it back to where it was. Maybe I want more line spacing between B and mine. I can just click on the arrow here or click down. Maybe I want it closer. How about if we make it centered? So here's our alignment tool. Click center. Now I have centered. And the advanced tool I'm not going to go into because this is a beginner class. So that right there, guys, is the text edit bar. And I wanted to show you quickly about a few other things over here in the layers panel, because our layers panel is number 5 and our color sync panel is number 6. So I'm going to go quickly here and add a shape from our design panel. And let's do a heart shape, and it will just add any of these shapes, but I'm going to choose a heart, and I'm going to show you how I can duplicate it. Notice if I click outside of the heart, it deselects it. Nothing is selected on my canvas. I want to work with this black heart right now, and now it's selected. And if you notice over here on the layers panel, this is grayed out, and so it's indicating the one that I'm working on. So let me watch the layers panel over here, and I'll click off the heart. See, it's not gray anymore. Nothing has been grayed to show me which one I'm working on. So I'm going to go back and do it again. There you go. You can see it. I can duplicate this heart by clicking there, and I have 2. I could delete it by clicking the X here or delete here. Okay, I'm going to click on the heart again. And then I have some tools down below here in this layers panel, which is part B of this webinar series. By the way, I'm going to be holding these webinars for part B next week on Wednesday and Thursday. So be watching Facebook. We'll announce it there. And I'm going to dive deep into this layers panel. There are 9 functions here that we need to go through. So be sure to join me for that. But I wanted to show you something really pretty cool here with this these 2 hearts that I have. So I'm going to make one a little bit smaller, and I want to show you the slice tool. This is one that we get all the time. How do I slice something? Slice is like a cookie cutter, right? We're going to roll out our dough, like sugar cookie dough, right? And then we're going to use our cookie cutter and we're going to cut something out of it. So I'm going to cut this smaller heart out of this bigger heart. Here's this big piece of dough, imagine, and I'm going to slice a smaller heart out of it. How do I do it? Well, what I do is I'm going to put my smaller heart over the bigger one. I can choose how small I want it, manipulate it that way. I'm just manipulating this smaller heart right here. I think that'll be good. Now, how I do this is I'm going to select both hearts. So I should see this heart and this heart grayed as I select it. I'm just going to hold my cursor down and come and select both. It doesn't have to cover the whole thing. As long as I have a piece of both, it's fine. Notice both hearts now are grayed. And the slice tool, which was not illuminated before, is now illuminated, saying, hey, you have something that can slice. You have to have at least 2, no more than 2, but at least 2 to slice something. And so now I'm going to click the slice tool down in the bottom corner, slice. Look what happened over here on the layers panel. Remember, this is my key to my map of my canvas. All of a sudden, I have another component here on my canvas, and it's what was resulted from the slice. So watch, I have this one matches with that. I have this one matches here, and finally there's my slice result. And what I've done with this is I've send this through on my mat to cut. I can change its color and say, hey, I want to cut this out of vinyl and put this on a coffee cup, which I have done. And I want to change the color. I could leave it black, but put red vinyl on my mat, and guess what? It will cut the red vinyl. But if you want to change the color just so you can get a visual here on your canvas, remember how we do that is click over here. I'm using this slice result, so I'm going to click here on this circle that is black, and I'm going to change it to a different color. I can change it here this way, or I can change it down here and choose something like that. And it's in a cut. It's not a writing, it's not scoring, it's not printing, it's going to cut, because I said I want to cut that out of vinyl. Okay, you guys. So finally, the last area of focus on the canvas is the color sync. And it's located right next to the word layers up here. Can everybody see that? Let me just highlight it for you so you know where I am. Color sync. This is such a great tool. So let me show you how it works. So if I click over here under color sync, it shows me that the images that I have on the canvas and the colors represented for each. So you know what? I actually want to make these 2 hearts here out of vinyl too. I want to cut those out, but I want them all on the same mat, because remember I told you that when we send this to a mat, it's going to organize it by color. So let me just prove that to you. If I click make it, there are the 2 black hearts. There's my red cutout sliced heart. There's my writing. There's the second part of the writing. And there's my image of love. And it's all organized by color. Now you're saying, well, wait a second, there's 2 red. Here's a red up here, and here's a red, but guess what? They're not exactly the same red. And that's how the computer recognizes it, is by a number, right? And so let me show you how to do that, how you get it all on the mat. Let's say I want this love and this heart on one mat, and I want these two black hearts on the red mat as well. So I'm going to cancel and go back, and I'm going to use this color sync tool up here. I'm going to click color sync, and I want them all the color of this sliced heart. I really like that love color. So all I do is drag, I put my pointer on the black hearts and select it and drag it down to the one color I want it. And that one, I want it there too. And this one, I want as well. Now, I'll have 3 mats. Let's prove it. There you have it. And remember how I told you that they're organizing it in the most optimized way to save you on materials. You can manipulate it and change it if you want it and have spaces or something like that, but automatically the program will put it in an optimized way to save paper and conserve. So there you have it. So the 6 areas of focus, let's just review quickly. We talked about the header. I'm going to go back to the canvas, and I can go back here using my arrow if I wanted. Okay. We had the header. We talked about the canvas itself. These over here are the building blocks from my canvas, and that's the design panel. We talked about the edit panel, and when I clicked on the text panel and the text bar, we explored the layers panel and the color sync tool. So we've done a lot. All of those things are on the canvas. So I know some of you have been working on their canvas and you've had some troubles with it. I'm really interested in what's your greatest frustration. And so I want to do just a little poll really quickly. What is your greatest frustration when designing in Design Space? Can you see that right now? Go ahead and vote. I'm really interested. Is it the layers panel in its entire? Is it maybe just the attach tool, which I haven't demonstrated tonight? The slice tool, which I did, or the welding tool? Maybe you're really interested in learning how to upload images. That's what you're doing. Let's see, we have about 50% of you who have voted. Let's keep this poll up for just another few moments, and let's see if we can get a good view of what you're dealing with, because what it does is helps us design more curriculum and webinars for you to deal with what you're dealing with, so we can get you the help that you need. So it looks like we have 3/4 of you, 75% have voted. So let's see the results. So move it over. The layers panel looks like it's pretty up there right with uploading images. So when if you'll come back to our part B webinar, we will get into everything that is listed here. Uploading images is a class all by itself too, because we can really dive deep. But if you are interested in knowing that before the next class, I want to show you ways that you can get the help that you need now. So that's the next objective. Where do I go for help? So first is Cricut.com. So I'm going to open up a new tab, and Cricut help is help.cricut.com, just like that. And you can look it up by, I have machine questions, or what are the FAQs on certain things, or maybe I want a video. Scroll down, you can see what is trending. Some people want to know what's the difference between certain machines. Maybe that's your question too. Keep scrolling. Maybe you want to know more about Cricut Access or image sets. Keep scrolling. Check it out down here. If you want to just chat right now with someone on Design Space, you can. if it's in this time zone, by the way. Look at this, 24-hour chat, yay! You can click chat now, or you can email, or you can call. Don't be afraid to call. A lot of people don't call anymore, but my goodness, we have so many people ready and willing to speak to you, and they're so helpful. I've spent some time working with them and listening to their conversations with our customers. You guys, they are the best. So don't be afraid to call. Chat's a really great way to get quick answers. And then this also, if you're down at the very bottom, you can see our blog. Blog is a great way to get some ideas and inspiration. And as I'm just clicked right on the blog, you can see our recent posts. It's kind of like a Pinterest, how that would work. But you can see what others have put on our blog. So where else can you go to get help? Now, if you're a newbie, you received, and you may not even realize it, in your email for the first week after you've registered your machine, you get an email every day that has a video in it specific to the machine that you purchased. And those are really super helpful. Also, webinars that we'll be offering. Like I said, next week, Wednesday and Thursday, we'll be having 2, part B. We're going to dive into the layers panel exclusively. Also, live demos really help also in your learning. And you can see those live demos on our Facebook, official Cricut Facebook page. And I wanted to show you, there's also here, this is learn.cricut.com. You can click right there. This is organized by machines. So a lot of you said you had 50% of you said you had the Cricut Explore Air 2. You could click there and it gives you all sorts of help. The manual, the videos. This is the one I recommend right now for Design Space as you're learning. Clicking here to Design Space. Design Space for beginners, right there. You guys, I think there are 28, maybe more now, but if you can see there are 4 plus 5 pages, and these are all quick, simple videos. And this is my call to action to you. Go watch some videos that will reinforce your learning today. And this is the best way to do it. Here's the homepage overview. We discussed that. Here's the Canvas overview. We discussed that. How do you change Canvas settings? Starting and saving a new project. The new icon. All of these things will help secure your learning in Design Space so you can get designing and get crafting and doing things you want to. So we've talked about videos. The one place I haven't shown you is YouTube videos. So I'm going to open up a new tab and I'm just going to go into youtube.com. And if you haven't subscribed to the official Cricut, oh, you need to do it. There's my subscription. There's official Cricut. And if you go over and subscribe, it will be red here and you can hit subscribe. You will see any new video will pop up for you and even notify you of new videos that we add. You can click here on videos and you can see we have a ton of awesome videos that can help you. If you look under playlists, right, you can just see working with the Design Space app. Maybe that's what you're needing, or how to create a Cricut, an iron-on t-shirt. By the way, this Friday, if you're in YouTube and you're subscribed, you'll get a notification. We're going to do a YouTube live where we'll show you how to layer iron-on a t-shirt. It will be fabulous. You want to check it out. So there are many ways to get up and running with your Cricut machine, with your videos, webinars, live demos, the help.cricut.com, learn.cricut.com, learning on our blog. And so the last thing I wanted to show you as we're getting near to our end, I just wanted to review with you. Let's see, cancel, sorry. I wanted to review with you our objectives. Hopefully you can see those here. We've gone to our, let's review our objectives, and I'll just show this from the current slide. So understanding the 4 parts of the home page, we learned the 6 areas of focus on the canvas, and we explored a lot of sources for help and learning. So my call to action to you, get in there, create a design on Design Space. Don't be afraid. You can always erase it. You can always just say, hey, I'm going to just delete it all. But get in there and practice, and that's what artists do and designers do. They practice and try things out. You're not going to break it. Just get in there and try. Also watch videos to just, cement those key learnings that you've heard today. You've heard many times that you have to hear things many times to get into that memory bank. So it's always great to use a variety of sources to learn something. And so videos are just a great way to reinforce what you've heard today. And then I have a survey for you. Please help us by answering those. As soon as this is finished, it will have 4 quick questions that will help us in getting better and offering more webinars for you that of what you'd like to hear and what you'd like to learn. So I thank you so much for joining me tonight. Have a great night, everybody, and get in there and design something. Thanks.